Okay, I do believe that we are now recording. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to, not welcome back, but welcome to the first podcast on the Onvermel Report. I am your host, Onvermel, the sexy, handsome one of the group. We have, to my left, Gerard, or Han, or Eck.
Brother, I am thrilled to be here.
You took my line.
And on to his left, we have Joseph. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, you could either call me Lasef or Zacta. I'm not sure yet. Neither one. is
Dipstick,
kind of-
maybe?
Yeah, we could go with that.
We might use that one later. Oh, no, the device isn't fully protected. Oh, no. Okay, so, as our first podcast that we're going to be doing, we're going to keep it relatively simple, We're just going to talk about the 90th anniversary Lego set that Lego Ideas is doing. For those the three people who might be listening to this who do not know what Lego Ideas is, it's basically a, George, you explain it.
It is a platform where Lego fans can submit ideas to the Lego company itself, and hopefully, if they gain enough votes in a certain amount of time, it can become an official Lego set under review, of course.
Of course,
Perfect.
some do not make it that way, which is very unfortunate.
Yes. But for this year, for the 90th anniversary of the Lego company, they decided to revive an old Lego theme in a single set.
There were 30 options.
And they didn't wait till the 100th year anniversary, which I find very odd.
That's too long away, Joseph. They had bigger things to do. So, but
Bigger fish to
out of the many, many, many different themes that made it, the three sub-themes and/or themes that made it to the first review, because out of the first 30, you vote on it, and essentially the three top ones get a second round of voting to see which of those three do it. Which of those three get to go to become the final set. Now, the three that made it.
Finalists.
Now, this is why we wanted to talk about this, because the three that made it were the one that got the most votes is Bionicle, which all of us would have voted for if we had all the ability to vote for it.
With Blacktron's out of the mix, there was no contender in our hearts who should come second.
Second, they got about 12.7% of the vote, I think.
A lot of them.
The next one that got the second most amount of votes was Classic Space,
No
then followed
shocker
by
there.
Pirates. Now,
Not a shocker
Acceptable
there.
winners.
oh, definitely. Any one of these that actually ends up being it, I'm going to be really excited
Honestly,
for.
Just going with fans in general, that's kind of the expected top three. While Classic Castle was close, I'm not surprised Pirates beat them.
I'm pretty sure Trains was fourth.
I would assume so. I don't think they moved from the position. I kind of would have been. See, if Train's gone to the third place, I'd be actually confused. I would be, really curious to see what set they're going to make, because as it stands right now, because the second round of the vote is not transparent, like essentially will be a surprise about which one wins.
In other words, rigged.
A little bit. Definitely gives
Yes,
Lego the
rigged.
opportunity to not make a set if they want. So out of the three, as much we've discussed this off screen many times, that we all voted for Bionicle.
Bionicle,
But
Hail
Unity!
Hydruka!
Unity!
Duty!
Destiny!
He said duty.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did.
but no. For some of those who, because hopefully, a lot of people I know might be watching this podcast, hopefully, because I am going to actually share this with Facebook. A lot of people might not know exactly what Bionicle is, or you're only vaguely familiar. Bionicle was
It's awesome.
Well, yes, don't smack the table.
It's the best.
Bionicle basically was a theme that Lego came out in 2001 to make basically buildable construction figures. So, a lot of Lego fans, like older Lego fans, don't really like it.
Construction is 2 words. Constructible action.
It really targeted the
Figure.
audience that was a young teenage demographic when it came out. And
But, yes. But I don't want to delve too much into Bionicle's backstory at the moment. The big thing is, because it's quite different from regular, standard, bricks, a lot of older fans and even newer fans may not be that into it. So, this is where the crux of this comes. All of us believe that even if Bionicle seems to manage to keep getting the most votes, like even at the end for the second round, none of us actually believe Bionicle's going to get the set. Just because it has, Well, Lego's kind of gypped us before with Bionicle.
yes,
There's
yes, it
going
has.
to be enough Bionicle haters to rig the vote in favor of probably Classic Space.
As I have,
Even if Classic Space didn't get the most votes, because we won't know which one of these three get the most votes, we'll just look at it. Pirates, we got Pirates of Barracuda Bay.
Which was an awesome set, by the way.
But that was like
we
a
just
year ago,
got
which
it.
essentially, let's be honest, if Pirates won, and
was
okay,
the-
look at it this way, Barracuda Bay didn't come out.
It was the
That's
80th
literally what it would look like.
set.
If Barracuda Bay didn't come out, and Pirates won, and Lego chose Pirates, it probably would just look like Barracuda Bay.
Or
but
very
Imperial.
similar.
It's like, it fits the same, like, generic, fits the same bill. So, we're pretty sure Pirates, even if they win, I don't think they'll get enough votes to even win, and they probably won't get the set, but like Classic Space and Bionicle, as much as Bionicle saved Lego from bankruptcy when they were basically released,
In the
it's
With
early
the help
2000s.
of Star Wars, but
Star Wars actually, I think, didn't sell nearly as well as
I have heard
Only
that it's
during the
not-
years that there was actually a movie.
But I've actually
99 probably.
I have
99,
heard
2002, 2005.
The thing is, it was probably really well in 99, but as 2000, 2001 went through, they probably were selling less.
They definitely
All-
dipped, yes.
I know Bionicle was significantly a major portion of this. I just know that Bionicle wasn't like the sole benefactor to this, which is something that crushed my belief of Bionicle awesomeness. a few years
But
back.
Star Wars and Harry Potter were there and they helped, but it's like a little kid
I-
helping
I-
build a
I have
cabinet.
a hard time believing that Harry Potter helped, because I kept buying those on shelves.
put a screw in, Daddy. I'm so great.
Wait, what?
It's like a little kid building a cabinet. Was the analogy I used.
Oh, okay. But no, yeah. But essentially, Bionicle is a worthy theme to get it set, and I guess done a lot for the company, and was around, like, its original run was for 10 years. Lego's, first, like, story, their own IP.
It
Crazy.
was their
And-
biggest success until Ninjago, I would
But-
say.
Even then, it's like, despite the fact, it's going up against Classic Space. Classic Space is, like, one of the most iconic that you got Benny in the Lego movie, which they made essentially a Classic Space ship for him.
Onvermel, may I interject?
Yes, he
Yes.
can.
As
How
my
formal.
my siblings here will well know, but you do not. I firmly believe Classic Space is a good contender for the 90th anniversary. But because Lego has done everything in their power to bring Classic Space back in small capacities, such as the Lego movie,
Well, they haven't done
and
everything in their power. If they had all their power, they would just make a new theme. But they
Benny-
have catered
yeah.
to the Classic Space fans a lot.
the Lego movie had Benny's spaceship. A very awesome homage to Classic. In fact, the epitome of redesigning an old theme. And yet,
When you think about
I
all the...
feel like for that reason, they do not deserve to win.
However-
There was also Peter Reed's exosuit idea set.
As well as the
Benny Space Squad
the minifig pack.
from the second
From
Lego
the
And
movie.
the
second
occasional collectible minifig that looks
The Micro
awfully
Galaxy Explorers.
suspicious.
The Micro Galaxy Explorers. There's been at
Yes,
least two of
cannot
them.
forget
Yeah.
about those.
And
So,
as Paul mentioned, Barracuda's Bay, Pirates would make a great theme, but we just got a very awesome ship last year. So even if Bionicle should not win, I feel like it deserves to win for the sake of we didn't get a resurgence for Bionicle. Though I have to add, because I wanted to say this, I was initially against trains, but because of what our contenders are left now, and Bionicles are sure to be booted somehow, I wish trains made it into the top 3.
see, trains wouldn't have been a bad choice because Legos had trains as part of their lineup for, like, so many years. Like, it goes so far back, before, like, minifigs.
Honestly, it goes farther than Classic Space.
Yes, aka
That is-
further than minifigs.
Yes.
Like, I think Trains, Classic Space, and Bionicle are some of the best contenders because when you think about how many sets Lego released to each of those themes enter, so like Classic Space has like 80 sets. Not quite. I think it's like
Over 10-year span, actually.
10-year span,
Really, that far?
80 sets.
78 to 87.
And then you got Bionicle, just about 10-year span, and you got like 100 plus like more sets. And then you got Trains, which I know didn't make it into the third, but like was still around for a long time and has a lot of sets.
And I mean, it's sort of changed over the years. It's become a sub faction of city or
And
town.
this is one reason
but
why I
there's
think
just been trains
Bionicle
for
should be at least like respecting the fact that like compared to a lot of the other sub themes like Lion Knights or Blacktron, Bionicle lasted way longer than any of those themes and had way more sets.
The question is, why was a theme like Wolfpack actually here?
Because
there was
Wolfpack's
3
awesome.
sets. I think they were just trying to pad some stats.
okay.
I've learned I think Wolfpack's way more popular with people
Sure.
than like some give credit for. But they
There's
also
like
were in
at
several
least-
other sets
There's
that
at
had
least
Wolfpack.
3
That is
sets
true.
that had Wolfpack. I think they realized that this is a good theme. But like, let's be honest, they're bandits. Why would you have a whole theme of it's hard to really stretch that out.
But it's like, but the point being, as much as I like to think that Bionicle could still get the most votes in the second round. I don't think Lego would choose them either way because of the fact that as I've pointed out, or tried to point out, Bionicle doesn't reach as much because like even if it's going to have to be system. Let's be honest. Even if they made a Bionicle set for this, it would be a system set, whether it be minifigs with like playsets out, which I don't think they would, or it could have been like Sakota's model from the last Lego days,
A more
or
display.
a more display, or they would do like a larger like a system, like mech more mech build of like using ball and sockets like system ball and sockets to make a figure, which as Gerard has actually made, so we know it's doable.
I expect to see a picture of this down below.
However, it's like that would be great, but like at some one YouTuber that I was looking at his video, I think it's Duck Bricks, was pointing out one of his videos. The Bionicle fan community is very divided. That some Bionicle fans really basically only care for contraction. Some Bionicle fans really don't care about system.
They do not.
So even if they made Bionicle, and there is a lot of Bionicle fans, you might be losing some of those Bionicle fans because it is system. However, you would be bringing in some generic Lego fans because it's system.
The useful parts.
But the problem is, a
Or
lot of
cool
people,
sets.
I think, would look, if they made a Bionicle set, I think a lot of people would look at it and go, oh, good, this is one I can skip out on. Essentially. Similar to what we were like with a typewriter or a lot of those, like, oh, good, an idea set I don't need.
The typewriter is a waste of an idea.
That was dumb.
Well built. Complete waste of an idea.
I like it more than the grand piano.
But did those ones come out at the same
That's a
time?
thing?
Yes, the grand piano.
Okay, it was the typewriter, Seinfeld, and the grand piano that all came at the same time?
The grand piano's already out.
Okay, but what was the third one with the typewriter and Seinfeld? Like, I can't remember what it was. I remember something else.
Bay?
Was that Sesame Street?
No,
Oh, yeah, that
it was
exists.
another lame one because I remember it was 3 lame ones.
Winnie the Pooh?
Winnie the Pooh has one?
Maybe
so.
they have one coming. Whatever it was, I know.
I
there
mean,
was like
the globe that's coming up. I'll probably buy that one. Every good house needs a globe.
Is it the globe of Earth or of the moon?
It's the moon. I mean, no.
Ah, dang it. I was hoping for the moon.
I now want a globe of the moon in my house.
If you can get a globe of the Death Star, just add a few more big dishes and you've got it.
I'd like Mars, if you please.
Why don't you want Mars?
How about Venus?
Just
Venus is boring.
as long as it's
Mars
not
at least has
Uranus. You can keep that.
Neptune's easy. It's a big ball of blue.
Big ball of blue.
Just a big ball of gas.
But no.
Millions of miles away.
But no, out of the three, getting back on track, out of the 3 sub themes, like the 3 things I made through, Bionicle just, I feel like as much as, it's like, I feel like Bionicle could compete Pirates in this regards, easily. Like, I think they're easily the second contender for this out of the 3 that chose. But the problem is going up against Classic Space. Classic Space not only was like an iconic, a super iconic theme to Lego, but look at this. None of us grew up with Classic Space, correct?
No.
And raise a show of hands who loves Classic Space. You guys can't see this, but there's 3 of them up.
It's a unanimous vote.
Because like
We
I,
love classic space.
Well,
Another
thing
thing
is-
is space older than us.
and
I greatly
some that's younger than
appreciate
us.
it.
even if I was like a Lego executive, just looking at the 30 themes, I picked Classic Space out of the sole fact that everyone loves it.
Even those born in the 2000s
And
were 17
well,
years
when
old.
I think it had its 75th anniversary with the Space Race 3 with like the statue, or
I want to be 75th.
or the 40th anniversary of Classic Space, was it?
The 40th was only 3
Are we
years ago.
talking
That would
about
have been
Galactic
30th.
Enforcer?
That would have been 30th.
The
Wait,
statue was
Yeah,
the
but with
30th
Galactic
anniversary.
Enforcer, you referred
Yes,
to
that would have been
Yeah.
30th.
Okay,
Oh,
so it's
wow.
like Lego knows Classic Space has always been Paul. Like they keep releasing minifigs, their logos on everything. Like there's so much to it that like. And the thing about Classic Space is, whenever it gets released, no one complains.
It's a bestseller.
And that's the thing. Even though this is like, because this is targeted towards, the Lego fans, they're going to try to figure out which one of these 3 would sell the most copies and be most appropriate.
And like, let's be honest here. Even if the Lego company is perfectly fair and goes with the largest vote,
Classic Space is still getting the largest vote.
Bionicles may have a significant lead over anything right now, but that's 1 out of 30 themes.
Plus,
Once it's down to 3, all the people who get to vote are going to pool their votes who didn't currently vote for Bionicle into either Pirates or Space.
And there's probably a lot of people who voted for 3 different castle things, because you had 3 different votes, who are probably going to vote for, like, the pirate one and the... Well, assuming you have more than 1 vote. If you only have 1 vote,
this one you will
they're
get
probably
one.
going to do...
They're not going to go for Bionicle. Bionicle
The
is either
people
your
who love
top pick-
Castle are now going to vote either Pirate or Classic Space. They're
That's the
not
thing is, the
voting
Bionicle vote's probably going to still the exact same percentage. It might go up a little bit,
I feel
but
like
the thing about the space thing is like, people like that we know as the Blacktron group that we're part of on Facebook. It's like basically they realize Blacktron lose and they're like, all right, everybody, let's go for Classic Space. Like,
Because we can get Trans Yellow out of this.
well, even then, like,
Exactly.
even then, they like Classic Space, even if they won't admit it.
They like making it into Blacktron, mostly.
They like that it's not Bionicle.
But it's like Classics. It's like, don't get me wrong, any set that would have come out of this, I'd be happy with, except maybe. Oh, even Extreme Team set I would have liked.
I would be curious to see what Extreme Team.
I saw the list, because we saw the list of top 10.
Did we?
Yeah, well, the Blacktron
Oh.
Space Force posted it.
Okay, yeah.
And I did see a list of the full 30 teams. Extreme Team was the bottom. Spires was second bottom. It was only like 20 votes ahead of Extreme Team.
I think Spires is not.
You,
the thing
wait,
with Spires
wait,
is.
there was an obscure one in there that was very obscure.
Paradisa.
No, I think it might have been more Technic related.
Model Team.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was not bottom.
Because
I
a
didn't
lot of
even hear
people
about
like
that.
large. It's an older like '90s theme of basically making
Yeah.
more realistic model cars.
For the record, Blacktron was like right smack dab in the middle at 15.
Okay, where was Mtron? I gotta know.
Actually,
I don't remember.
given the
top of
fact
it.
that
I could
there's so-
figure it out, but
Okay, well-
it was
well-
higher than Blacktron.
well-
given that there's so
Pretty
many
sure.
sub themes,
I
that's
think
actually
so.
pretty impressive.
See, this is the thing I was trying to figure. I'm curious was where where Mtron was going to learn. I'll figure on this, but the thing is like as what I'm hoping out at the end is like I'm sure they'll pick Classic Space regardless. Like at this point, they probably are like are going for Classic Space, and they're probably already designed the set if they haven't already.
Well, it's coming out in 2022, so they've got.
They can take their time.
they
So
got
I bet it's going to be Classic Space. But what I hope comes out of this is that Lego at least recognizes that there's enough interest. Like there's still a lot of interest in Bionicle, and they might reconsider like certain Bionicle idea projects that make it to 10,000.
Or even just other themes, but Bionicle especially.
But
Like,
that's
just
another
more
thing about
pirate
there's
sets,
another thing
more
about the
castle
YouTuber
sets.
Duck Bricks was pointing out is like he had a theory that half of the reason Lego's doing this and has all these sub themes like as choices is to actually figure out what sort of sub themes do people want more over others. Like in theory, people could realize, oh, maybe
So,
Mtron.
Space.
For all I know, they might be looking at this and going, say, hey, maybe people really want Mtron, which we have got a couple Mtron homages and stickers in set. And even that one set was basically an homage to Mtron because it
I
had the
just
sticker and was essentially an Mtron fig color.
I
Yes.
just want to see a
Which-
more traditional
That
space theme.
set is.
No
Oh,
more of
that's-
these
that's-
funky aliens. Just generic suit people in cool spaceships.
I mean, the thing is, I'm wondering if they make a Classic Space, like, are they just going to do like a Galaxy Explorer, like a big Galaxy Explorer ship? I'd be okay with that too. Or are they going to make something more design? I don't know.
I think it does have to be say that Bionicle, just because it's the Onvermel port,
Yes.
we got to mention that Bionicle I think deserves a little more respect for the sense. I think it's often overlooked that Bionicles had the first full-length movies. They may not have been theatrical releases, but they
No,
had,
the first one was in some theaters.
didn't know that.
I do know that. Like, I do know the.
But they had three.
Unfortunately,
good
none
movies.
of us were there.
I
to
think there were only
witness
like a
it.
few
It was
theaters in like the
probably in the
States.
States.
I'm
Definitely
pretty
the
sure.
States.
Or like Denmark. Hail Denmark.
Hell, Denmark.
Hell, Denmark.
But that's the thing is that's the one thing that's been bothering me most about this was it showed how many people really despise Bionicle, and it's a similar hate you get with prequel haters.
Yeah.
You bring it up and they go, oh, that's horrible. I don't like it.
As-
Get it
as
away.
I-
That's not real.
$10 says they're literally the same people.
Boomers?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
I mean not boomers, but inspiring boomers.
Well, as I was going to say earlier, like with the voters, it's if you with your three, you had 3 votes. If you voted Bionicle, it was probably your first pick. If it wasn't your first pick, it probably wasn't.
it was
part
your
of
only pick.
I was gonna say it probably wasn't a pick at all. It's like it's either your first pick. Or
It's-
you
I
don't
think
choose
there's-
it at all.
As far as I could tell, there was a couple people who was like their third pick.
Oh yeah, that's
Or at least
what
it's
I
the third one they
remember, too.
listed. Whether or not it was, I mean, when you got the first 3, you don't have a first pick over the other. It's more
No,
so.
you have a first pick. There's
The one you input first.
Yeah.
Hanatu's was clearly Blacktron. That was his go-to.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I searched on the list for. It was Blacktron.
Mine was Bionicle, flat out. I don't even know what else I'd want. It's like I want Bionicle back,
See,
but I'd be happy with everything.
Just go the 3 Bs: Bionicle, Blacktron, Black Knights.
see,
But
I went
what if
for.
want something
I
else?
of
Like,
course went
You're
for
right,
Black.
you would've
or-
gone for
no,
Alpha.
gosh.
Actually, I probably would have gone for Black Knights over Alpha. Well, Alpha has a good theme. I already have all the Alpha. Why do I need a reboot of this? Unless, of course, they make one heck of an Ogle.
I don't think they can really make Ogle better than he already is.
Exactly, Ogle's
But,
peak
See,
performance.
for
right
my
there.
3, I went for Bionicles, duh, Mtron,
Duh.
and Aquazone.
What?
See, my thinking of this was not so much what would be a perfect 90th anniversary set. My theory is What other? I'm never going to get the chance to vote for Aquazone in my life ever again.
Actually, that actually brings up a good point. Okay, we're all just voting on what we want. But if we're actually looking at this project, what do you think would actually be
A deserving.
the deserving 90th anniversary theme?
If I was going for what deserved it, Classic Castle, Classic Space, and Train.
Yeah,
I think are technically like the three most like historically like important.
I would have to agree. I was definitely going to say Classic Castle feels like a good research.
Town is silly to even be on there because it's technically still there. Just called
Don't get me wrong,
city.
it's
Pirates-
The population just grew enough that they
Pirates,
turned
I
it into a
think, are
city.
really cool and like have a point, but Pirates get rebooted now and then, like that. And we just have our Pirates of Carapuda.
Paraputa Bay.
Barracuda Bay. A Parapuda Bay, yes.
It's not Puha Pup. It's close enough.
Okay, well, Parapuda Bay, as we say. Like we just had that, so I was like, I wasn't even considering it, but I was like, if I was actually voting what deserved it, I would have just gone Classic Castle, Classic Space, and probably just left it at those two. And that's the bigger reason I don't think Lego's going to pick Barnacle. Like they could have done this as a not a 90th anniversary. Like this is just not a 90th anniversary thing, but just a special ideas thing, where it's more so you're not so much designing the product, but you're choosing the theme. And like was it 90s? Then I can see Barnacle maybe winning. But because this is 90th anniversary of the Lego company, like what? Actually, no. What we should have done? Everybody should have put in a comic saying we want a wooden toy again, and then be like, hey, well, 90 years ago.
They did make a wooden minifigure.
I was gonna say they have a wooden
I think they
But
did.
aren't the hands still plastic because they're
Yes,
yellow?
the hands are still plastic.
I
but
feel
the rest
gypped.
of the
So if they
minifigures
made a
are.
wooden thing, they've made a duck, but they have not remade the wooden duck.
Yeah.
A lot of people apparently wanted an elephant toy because apparently there was some sort of elephant toy back in the day.
One of us here wants
the
an
wooden
elephant
duck's
toy.
got all the
All the
limelight.
love.
All the love. Yeah.
I blame the Lego history book that we rented from the library had.
It didn't help that one of the logos had a duck on it too.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it?
It was basically their best-selling toy, that duck.
So it was famous, but see now,
It's
Jar-
like the Barnacle
probably
back of the 50s or 40s.
see now this wooden duck and Barnacle. I want to see Tahu riding a wooden duck
Okay, now
into battle.
Okay, now we need to make
Jousting on a wooden duck.
Okay, Paul. Now we all need to make models of the wooden duck, but out of bionicle parts.
Look, I'm already busy building Dentar out of wooden parts. Okay.
A few people would track down our address and burn the place down because they would think that's blasphemy.
Just let them
George, it was
try.
made out of wood at first. Anything goes. Anything. I mean, Lego's already made, I think, at least 2 Lego wooden ducks. I think they made a smaller one. Like, they had the Lego house, like, exclusive or employee one.
And there was one, like, free gift with purchase.
Yeah, that was, like 2 years.
That was quite
Maybe
a few
I'm
years
thinking
ago
of a
now.
creator model, but didn't some make the duck with, like, a brick separator? As, like, the beak or the tail or something?
That was probably just a mock.
I have seen that. Lego has yet to use a brick separator in a set that isn't just a brick separator.
Actually, I want the Lego company to do this just to show
I
that
don't
they're
think they
hip
ever
too.
will. I don't think they ever will.
They don't want to tell people it's actually a part. No, it's actually just something you take apart, Lego. It's not
It's
a
just
real part.
George. They just throw that in there to increase the price. Hey, that actually is right. No, the price. The price. Did this actually count as a part in the inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, extra parts count. Then yeah, of course that counts too, because essentially it's just an extra
Well,
part.
I don't think the extra parts are actually in the inventory list in the back of the page, but the
No.
brick separator is.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I thought you were talking like Brooklyn for some reason.
No, just like the box says, so many parts. Does that include the brick separator?
Yes, the brick separator is always in there.
So you've opened the box and counted every individual part.
I know they are. I don't need to double check it. I know. I'm smart. I know what's going on, boys. But I was
honestly,
but look at that. I just hope that Lego Lease looks at this and realizes, okay, Barnacle, they won something. So if another project gets to 10,000,
the 25th anniversary of Barnacle, we won Bionicle.
Because we missed out on our 20th.
Why have I told you about smacking the table?
Sorry. And we had the kit, we had the votes, and the 20th anniversary gave us a bloomin' typewriter.
But
no one uses
I can see
typewriters
why
anymore.
that project didn't make it through though. Like, okay, there was one video I watched that basically kind of like detailed, like probably like looking objectively why it didn't.
I understand why it didn't, but
why
what I want to know.
Well, one
Enlighten
reason.
me, please.
Okay, well, one reason I think it was TTV. I could be wrong, but they're mentioning how like looking at the parts count, it would have had to have been like a $200 set.
Yes, because the
So
current
already people who aren't interested in Bionicle, we're not going to spend $200 on something they're not interested. Even if it has nice parts, they're not going to spend on that much they're interested in. As well as it's a set that probably people are going to buy one copy. You only got just the Bionicle fans. it's like the amount of people would actually buy would be just so small that it's just like not very likely that they would actually produce
Pretty
it.
much the 10,000 people who voted.
Yes.
With a few exceptions, but like even then, it's like you're not going. It's not going to be like
See, I understand.
Doctor Who, which like, and you're not going to like Doctor Who also. Let's say like that. A lot of the ideas that target. Sorry, the hiccups. They're not something. No, not target, but they also can interest non-Lego fans.
That's why a lot of random license
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld,
Big Bang Theory.
Friends,
Yeah.
I want to shoot those ones.
sitcoms,
See,
sit down.
I
The Beatles.
Okay,
The Yellow Submarine.
I still don't understand that.
that one was just
Okay, I understand the Beatles were huge.
okay.
And
The
everybody,
Beatles.
and
But,
people
like,
say
what
like,
else are you
do you
gonna
listen to the Beatles? I'm like, you know what? I have listened to Beatles. I just don't know it.
Let's be honest though. With the Beatles though, you're making the Beatles. What are you gonna put as their actual set? And supposedly that was a popular song, so I can see the logic there.
There was
just a
some
big.
sort of TV
There was a
show.
Yeah.
cartoon.
But still, like it's a song
It was
of theirs.
tricky,
It's
apparently.
actually something to put with the figs. But okay, so I understand the logic of what usually is picked. I understand why Barnacles probably will never get a resurgence like that. But what I don't understand is how a flippant typewriter is where they decide. Because there's like what a dozen things they
See,
can choose from.
The typewriter, if it was just the piano or just the typewriter, I can kind of see it. But the fact that he had both of them relatively close, I'm just like, does that mean there's so many people like typewriters?
Does this typewriter
There's
work?
just a bunch of people who like
Cool
normal
box.
things built in Lego, whether it's smaller scale or
I feel-
actual scale.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's a smaller demographic than a Bionicle set. Maybe it's like the 1/3 of the people Bionicle fans who would like that particular set. But I feel like it's a
But how
smaller
about this? But the
demographic.
typewriter, though, if you had a friend who was into writing and remember had Lego as a kid, and you know always appreciate, be like, yo, dude, you like writing? I remember you have appreciation for Lego. Here's a Lego typewriter.
I just dropped $250 to give you
It's
something
basically
you're
like-
never gonna use.
And that's the thing is you can't. There's not very many people who have that level, because like the thing I would say the thing about a lot of ideas is it targets two different demographics: a Lego demographic and often something else. Bionicle only chooses one demographic: a Lego fan, just a section of Lego fans, which as many Bionicle fans there are is still not as big as like if you made a train.
Honestly,
Because a train, non-Bongo fans or non-train fans are probably still going to be interested. Because the thing is, unlike every other Lego theme, non-Bongo fans won't buy Bionicle. But if you don't like Ninjago, like Gerard, you don't even care that much for Ninjago, yet you buy Ninjago sets because often they have like either good parts, good figs, and are just interesting.
And this wouldn't apply to a Bionicle system
But the
set.
thing is, people who don't like Bionicle are super butthurt about Bionicle, and that they basically, I'm not going to say boycott, but they avoid it like the plague.
More for us.
Because like, have you noticed like online,
Some
like
people just hate it for the sake of hating it. They're just stubborn in
I
their ways.
honestly don't understand what their beef with Bionicle is so much, other than the lack of compatibility.
that's basically the beef right
It's
there.
lack of compatibility. It doesn't look like Lego.
Even though
I
it is,
beg
the
to
thing is,
differ.
I find interesting is it's way more compatible than people think. Do you know how many times I've seen TOA use Gundam chests? Gundam.
Mech chests.
I don't know how to say that word. Okay, Gundam chest. Like I have like two TOA feet. Like the thing is, people can use Bionicle in System Ox. You just have to be, oh, what's this? Creative.
I mean, I think you guys may remember.
Plus, I use the mask as a cockpit.
If you can use Galador, any old person can use
George,
I mean,
Bionicle fans using Galaxy.
when I was younger, like mid-teens,
Typically, yes, Barnacle fans are using Galador with their Barnacle, but sometimes you see a normal system mock using Galador.
pretty
But that's
sure-
mostly those weird, strange, creative people like, I had to see that strange part. I'm going to challenge myself to use it. The world needs more of those.
I mean, if I'm correct, when I was younger, I had huge beefs with so much Technic in normal system sets.
You still do.
I do still have that. But that's just because I like building with bricks.
But I would say that's not so much a compatibility. That's more of an issue of you enjoy building with bricks rather than building with Technic.
The fact is, it points out right there that Lego has a lot of Technic elements built right into their average sets these days.
And if you look at some of the early Barnacle sets, they're more Technic sets.
Gerard, they literally had Technic on the branding.
Yes,
Look
some
at the
of
Rocky.
early
sets
branding
even
of
had
Technic.
Just look at this is actually the question I want to know. I want to find the Technic community because I don't know where they are. They are super quiet and don't exist. I'm pretty sure.
They don't have
But-
an online presence.
They're too busy building their
But
giant,
what I'm curious, I want
complicated
to know what Technic like adult fans think of Bionicle. System fans also have beef with it. But what about Technic fans? That's what I'm kind of curious
And
about.
let's be honest, we look at Bionicle, that wasn't entirely all Technic. Look at the Tarakava, they had bricks.
Hmm. Well, yeah, they have a couple bricks.
The whole handhold was.
Well, there's
I
a
mean,
lot
they're
more
Technic bricks, but they're still
and
bricks.
with like the
But
curve.
there's a lot more of a crossover. Like, well,
I actually enjoy that aspect of them now. It makes it feel rustic.
don't get me wrong. Like, systems like people who dislike Bionicle are very vocal about it. Same.
Very.
It's like I said, they remind me of prequel haters. They're probably old aspiring boomers who dislike what's new and because like this thing is like I'm pretty sure most of the people who are annoyed about Bionicle, I bet most of them are like older than me.
They were probably in their mid to late
They're-
teens when Bionicle first came out.
So they already
Just
had
a
a bias.
little bit past the
Right
age.
around their dark age. I mean, it doesn't help that at that point Lego wasn't that great for other themes, so it probably helped the dark age come sooner.
So pretty much, if you were like turned 10 or 12 between the years of 2001 and 2010, you probably like Bionicle.
Like I can understand. Some people point like some people think Bionicle looks a little creepy. You know what? I can kind of understand that.
Sometimes some of the sets do.
Do you know the worst thing about Bionicle?
Very
Do you know
creepy.
the one of the most difficult things about being a Bionicle fan is when people are like trying to be like, okay, I don't understand Bionicle because someone explain the story to me.
That's
That is
not
a
gonna
loaded
help.
question. Because do you know how hard it is?
That is a question for another day,
Do you
another
know?
time,
Because the
another
thing
topic.
is, what do you choose? Is like, do you choose the full story, just like the original 0102 story? Like, it's such a loaded question. Like, it's the thing with Bionicle is it's really hard to explain.
Even if you go with
Alright, children, sit down.
Let's
We're
be
going
honest.
to talk about Bionicle
The
story for
story
the next 3
is
days.
very well thought out, but then they continued the story, and then you get a lot of plot holes and questions, and it makes it even more confusing than it was before.
Another thing is like it's hard to get new fans into Bionicle, like the story, because where do you start?
Start at the beginning.
Now, in fairness, I know at least one person who historically did not like Bionicle who gave it a chance. For we part of the Lego user group, and one of the members was a rather vocal. Actually, he's a prequel hater too, I believe.
I bet you he's not as.
He likes the Clone Wars though, but he doesn't like the prequel movies.
I think he must have mellowed out a little bit.
I think
he
about
does
the
it more for the
prequel movies.
walls. Like it's more of a joke. It's like it's fun to hate the prequels rather than actually hates them. And I think,
Yes.
but he was the one who gave us a bunch of Bionicle. So was he into Bionicle when he was younger?
He
I
had to
think
be.
he was a bit, but like he
Adults influenced his mind probably.
I mean, there has been choices.
I think he just
didn't
grew
build.
out of it.
I feel like he didn't build much of Bionicle. Like he probably, or he never got good at it. Or maybe possibly he never got good at it and was just like couldn't figure it out.
This raises a question
Which is
in
why-
my mind.
Well, I was going to finish this. Like one reason why when at BrickCon he basically sheepishly came over to us, told him that he started building Bionicle, and I did feel a little honored and like it actually made me feel really good about myself when he actually asked me about like for some advice how to build Bionicle, because also you and me were the people in the Lego group were known as the Bionicle guys, and because it was a BrickCon, I had all my Bionicles. There was like. I was like, well, I hate when people ask me for tips of building because like I don't know. You just put parts together and something happens.
That's how it works. Unless because you have a very specific idea, and then it usually doesn't work that way. But there's a question I'm now wondering.
I might give you an answer.
I don't know if you remember.
Do I?
But our friend, your friend actually,
Which one is this?
DS.
Oh, Danny boy.
Yes.
Hey Daniel, if you're listening to this, sup? How's it going?
I remember.
New
I don't know why I was there, but I was at his birthday with you, and he got a new Anuva.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still have that? If so,
I highly
sell?
doubt it. But I've been wanting to ask him about it because okay, that birthday party I think was just at the cusp when you were still kind of friends with him.
I don't remember that being that, but I don't.
Well, remember that was 2002.
That seems like after that. I feel like at that point he was your friend. I honestly don't know.
It was at the point where you, me, and Felicia would all hang out with him. Like I would always be his like the closest. But that was still.
Fact being, he got into Bionicle. I knew he didn't like Bionicles or Lego, in that matter. Did he keep it? What happened to it?
He kept
Does
it for a
still have
while.
it?
Cause I remember going to his house later on, like another point, and he had it like built. But the 5-long axle and the 6-long axle were in the wrong spot.
That is such a rookie mistake.
I mean, to be fair,
Okay, slight
Kopaka,
side tangent.
first TOA
Okay.
ever. I kept trying to put the big gear in the little gear place until I finally figured
Okay,
it was wrong.
slight side tangent. But I remember his mom telling me that she was surprised he wasn't into Lego because he thought like the idea of putting stuff together, being like creative and like kind of like thinking a lot about how things work. he thought I'd be into, and he never did get into Lego.
Which is weird.
Which is
Most
funny.
kids like
Which,
that.
you know what? As his friend, I always respected that and didn't ever bring up Lego with him. So, you're welcome. But, okay, we're going to have to do another one of these, I think, and talk about other people's interest in Lego, like our friends or people that we know, and kind of like what our experience with other people in our like lives. Because, like, we only started knowing other Lego fans,
As adults, pretty
basically
much.
as adults. And that'd be kind of interesting to see kind of like what we've stumbled across.
And
but
I certainly feel like they don't have the broad knowledge we
but
have.
we're basically reaching there, so I'm just going to bring it back to the ideas, and we can talk about it another day. So essentially, probably going to be getting a classic space set. I'm super excited. I hope that Lego decides to do something Bionicle in the future with Lego ideas, or at least
just
gives us a
something
little
for
bit
us.
more. Like, they've given us little references in Ninjago sets, and I appreciate that. But I would like to see just a little something more, especially because they kind of
Give us Greg Varsity
because
back.
they kind of skirted around Bionicle in the Lego movies. Not gonna lie.
Okay, let's be honest. What really takes everyone off, the Bionicles fans anyways, I
The
think we
tick.
would be a lot more okay if they would have just acknowledged the Bionicles and the Lego, not just and things we don't talk about. That was literally.
If they just said the word Bionicle, I think Bionicle fans
If
would
they
have
would
been
have just
happy.
acknowledged the Bionicles and maybe even made a single Bionicle character, we
But
would have
yeah.
been happy.
So I guess to finish,
Actually, that
to
would've
officially
been a good way to
finish
go
this off, because I feel like this has just been all over the place. In fairness, first podcast, so I don't know how well the audio's going to go. That's what you're saying there. You have the strongest voice.
It might be crap.
Oh, horrible.
It's going to be like this every time.
No, someday I'll get better.
No,
Audio.
we are not going to stick to a plot. The whole point of these podcasts is to
Oh,
go
no.
on tangents.
Unless we keep leaning towards the microphone.
Leaning towards the microphone closer. Everybody, lean towards the microphone. I
I
love when you lean
and
like
then our
this.
faces are too
Sucks.
close.
You
Just
are
talk
too
over me.
close for personal comfort.
So no, I'm gonna end off like this. Basically, what I'm hoping for, because I bet it's gonna be Classic Space over the other two. I'm expecting essentially a Galaxy Explorer revamp. Nice
Well,
big $200, $250
It's
set.
bigger.
It's better. Whoa, ho,
So
ho!
that's-
It's not Mr. Incredible.
And what I'm hoping for this is new Red Classic Space.
Red would be very nice.
We haven't had red in like 10 years.
I have
From like
some reissue bag.
a bag, like some like a bag or like a reissue like that came up with like a school bag or whatever. You got this free
Yes.
fig, as well as one vintage minifigure set. So now that they have the new helmet, we haven't had red. And so I'm thinking it will be like probably like 5. They might actually have one of each color fig. I
would-
could see them doing that, like one of each.
classic color. Maybe
Maybe with
they'll
the pink?
even go with a green.
Or I could see them orange.
Well, green with the new helmet.
Ooh.
Classic Space.
Or old helmet or new helmet. I'm not
No,
sure.
I think they. Ooh, will they actually have the? They got to use those helmets, right? Or are they gonna use the next 9 helmets? You know what? But
Either way, it's going to be great.
Classic Space. I wish it was something else, but you deserve to win, and I really hope you stick with the traditional colors and keep it to the original.
Well, you know they have to. They're gonna keep.
They've added a penguin to a theme that
I
will
love that
not
pink
go.
figure. It was great.
I will not go into that here, but I'm very against the pink.
We're gonna
thing.
have to discuss that another time, I think. It's
Back to
alright.
you.
Any closing thoughts that you would like to share with the group?
He is not Bob.
No.
No, nothing. Joseph, any closing thoughts about any other closing thoughts about this you'd like to mention?
If the Lego company wants to rake this for at least Classic Castle, I would be okay with that.
Nah, poor Classic Castle. They've gone short
Something
on many
different.
sticks.
I just want something that we didn't have recently.
Well, alright. Thanks for you guys for being here. Well, Joseph for sure will do this next week. Jar will probably join. Jar, you'll probably join us until you move out, to be honest.
It's quite
Until he's
possible.
kicked out.
So,
So-
yes, we'll kick you out. We'll kick you out with that woman.
You
Feel
can't
free
kick
to...
me out. I'm running away.
Hey, you can't use that logic. So, thank you, everybody. I'm retiring. We are retiring from the night.
I salute you.
And for those doomed to never return,
I salute you twice.